So I wanted to let everyone know before I get into the topic of today's video that I have enabled the join feature on my channel, and for anybody who doesn't know what this is, essentially it is a way for you to support me directly if that's something you feel you want to do. It's essentially YouTube's built-in Patreon. So it's there if you're interested, if you really like the content I create and you want a way to just support me directly. There it is. I do want to make it clear that as of right now, I'm not offering many perks or benefits. In fact, I think the most significant thing you're going to get is like a little controller badge next to your name when you leave comments on my video. That will change over time the longer you support me. So if that's something you're interested in, by all means, feel free to do that. I also want to let you know that going in the future, I hope to add more perks and more incentives for you guys. But right now, I just want to make it clear and be transparent that this is just a way for anybody who's interested to support me and this channel directly. So yeah, moving on to today's topic, it's definitely some good news. Some news I'm excited to share, and that is, once again, how well Days Gone is selling. Now, you guys know I've actually really been enjoying Days Gone, and I know a lot of you are eagerly waiting for my final review on it, and I'm trying to push as hard as I can, without rushing, mind you, to get there. I'm just enjoying my time with it so much. I'm trying to savor it, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to rush through it. It's like when you go to a nice fancy restaurant and you pay for an expensive meal, you want to savor it. You don't want to, just eat it all as quickly as you can and then that's it, right? So that's kind of how I'm approaching this game. And the good news I'm talking about is that apparently, according to NPD, Days Gone is the 7th highest selling PlayStation exclusive ever for Sony. Now, to some, they may not think this is impressive, but believe me when I tell you, when you know just how much some of Sony's PlayStation exclusives have sold, especially ones that are known brands, known franchises, and you have to look at the competition that Days Gone, a new IP, is going up against. It's very impressive, honestly, and this is a great debut for a new IP, and in my opinion, this kind of really does cement Days Gone as a franchise going forward that Sony's going to want to continue. I highly doubt that Sony is going to look at this, seeing it's the 7th best-selling exclusive on their platform, and not continue to do something with it. But let's go over a little bit of what the NPD report here says. It says Mortal Kombat 11 is the second best-selling game of 2019 in the US, according to data from NPD, after a strong April debut in which it was the top-selling game on every platform. The latest in NetherRealm's long-running series topped NPD's software charts for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. It is the first third-party published game to top the monthly chart on Nintendo Switch since the launch of Ubisoft's Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle in September 2017. The PS4 exclusive Days Gone also had a strong debut month, the 7th highest ever for a game published by Sony, but it wasn't enough to finish ahead of Mortal Kombat. It has also surpassed any previous Sony Bend game despite only launching worldwide on April 26th. The third biggest game of April in the US was another strong performer, MLB The Show 19, which had the fastest start of any game in the series history and is already the best-selling sports title of the year. So yeah, it's not just good news for Days Gone. Apparently MLB The Show is doing really well, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not interested in the game. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but I think it's easy to forget that this is actually a PlayStation exclusive and it's doing really well. But obviously I wanted to focus more on Days Gone because I just feel like Days Gone had a lot going against it, or at least more going against it than, say, some of Sony's other bigger titles, and to see that it has been able to hold its own, I think it's great, honestly, and I'm excited because, again, as somebody who's enjoying Days Gone, it would be really unfortunate if we were kind of getting the opposite news, right? That because people, saw the review scores or whatever, or it just didn't do as well, like the game just literally didn't have much to offer. That's the thing I'm finding I'm most surprised with, not to give away too much of what I'm going to be saying in my final review video, but I'm very surprised at how much content is actually packed in this game. I'm not going to lie to you, I did not expect to be playing the game for this long. I didn't expect it to take this long for me to complete it. And I think that people find a lot of value in that, you know what I'm saying? Especially today in 2019, when people are paying $60 for a game, they just want to feel like they're getting their money's worth. And for me, so far with Days Gone, I certainly feel that way, and I think that's how a lot of other people are feeling as well. The thing about Days Gone, it seems to me that a lot of people were hesitant going into it, and most of them, not all of them of course, but a lot of people were actually very surprised at just how much fun they're having with the game, how much they're enjoying it. It doesn't necessarily need to be a masterpiece, but people are really on top of this game, and not only are the sales reflecting that, but it's just kind of what I've been hearing ever since the game launched, and I can kind of vouch for that myself. So any opportunity I get to talk about how well a single player AAA game is doing, story-driven game, I'm going to do that. And obviously we've talked a lot about Days Gone last month, a lot about it this month, and hey, it's rightfully so. I think that there is a lot to unpack with this game. There's a lot of news, and I'm curious to see if Sony's going to come out here and give us official sales numbers. I think at some point we can expect them to do that. But yeah, make sure you let me know what you think about this. Are you still enjoying Days Gone? Are you surprised to hear it's the 7th best-selling PS4 or just PlayStation exclusive in general? And do you think that Sony's going to continue Days Gone as a franchise going forward? There's one last thing I do want to take a minute to talk about here, and it has to do with Sony's Shawn Layden and a little bit of what he had to say. Says that not every game in Sony's first-party portfolio is a smash hit, but between projects like Dreams and God of War, it's clear that the company gives its studios an unparalleled sense of freedom. Speaking at the Collision Conference in Toronto yesterday, Worldwide Studios chairman Shawn Layden touched upon this a little, explaining that it encourages a culture where teams are able to experiment and explore in order to push the boundaries of gaming. The executive added that it's not just risk-taking which leads to creativity, but also the composition of the teams themselves. As we broaden the tent for our games, and we welcome those from every part of the world and every background, it's important our development teams look like our fans. It's important that we have a wide range of voices if we are to exceed the expectations of our audience, he said. Sameness is the death of innovation and creativity. The suit concluded that you cannot control how, when, or where truly creative ideas can happen, but you can nurture them. It's interesting to get this kind of insight from Layden, and we're genuinely thrilled that this is the firm's philosophy. While we accept that PlayStation is a business first and foremost, we've always got the impression that it has a genuine desire to expand the scope of what interactive entertainment can be. Long may that continue. So I agree with what the end of this article has to say here. Even though at the end of the day, these are people whose, their job is to make the company money. That's the thing that ever since I came over to PlayStation, I'm finding myself that there is a genuine sense of, mutual feelings here when it comes to Sony, and at least most of the people within Sony. I don't know if I can speak for all of them, but people like Shawn Layden and others, and obviously the developers, they understand that if you want to succeed, at least in the market right now, you need to be able to bring something to the table of value, and it doesn't always just come in the form that we expect it to, right? There's a lot of things that gamers appreciate in this medium. There's a lot of things that these publishers, I think, can learn to appreciate as well going forward, and it's just really nice to hear that this is the philosophy. I've kind of, ever since I switched over, and I don't say that in a sense of like, oh, I'm done with Xbox, now I'm with PlayStation, because I know that's how I make it sound, but when I say switched over, I mean decided to embrace what PlayStation has over here and play some of their games, a lot of their games actually. I've really been kind of honed in on this, is that the idea that Sony just has a different way that they approach this market, that they approach game creation, and I don't know if it's always been there. I think it kind of has always been there, but this generation has just really taken it to another level that I don't think we've seen before. And this is something that I tell you, like, it's really good to hear this from Shawn Layden, because of course it could just be speak, but this is the difference, right? Like, I've talked a lot about what other people have said in the past, but the difference between that and what I'm talking about now is that the proof is here. We've seen the proof, and I've been talking about this, and this is just what we want to continue to hear. And it's good to hear them reiterating that they do care about this philosophy. They do care about diversity within, you know, their company and their developers, which I think is important as well, because it's true. Like, you don't want to just focus on sameness, because if you do that, you're going to get the same thing every time, and it's going to get stale, and people are going to get tired of it. And so you want to get different people with different ideas who've had different experiences that they can bring to the table. And, you know, this is all seems like kind of somewhat obvious stuff, but maybe you wouldn't be surprised at this point that a lot of these companies and the way they run, this isn't how they think. This is not the philosophy they have. In fact, this is nothing, you know, that this is not something that they focus on. And it's really sad and it's really unfortunate. But I think something we can all agree on is that Sony has been doing a great job. And going into next generation, going into the PlayStation 5, I know I've been a little bit negative recently because of the cloud and streaming, but putting all that aside, the truth is this: we are going into next generation. We are getting another console, another PlayStation console. Sony values that console. They value their market and the customer base they have now. And regardless of what their long-term ambitions may be because of the nature of just things changing, I think it's safe to say that they understand what their core audience appreciates, and they value that core audience. And hearing what Shawn Layden has to say here is just a reaffirmation of that. And that's why I like relaying this to you guys, because, hey, for anybody who maybe is unsure of where their philosophy lies when it comes to game creation, if their philosophy's changed, it doesn't seem like it. Of course, they're going to want to broaden, they're going to want to expand, but at the end of the day, I think if any company, any gaming company out here understands that it's about quality first, if you don't have the quality, you're not going to succeed. I think Sony understands that. I think that much is obvious. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for the video. I didn't want to make it too long today, but I did want to be sure to relay this information to you. I'm very happy to hear about Days Gone. I'm really happy to see it selling well. I'm really enjoying my time with the game, and believe me when I tell you, I absolutely cannot wait to wrap everything up with this game so I can do this final review video. I'm really looking forward to that. Be sure to let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you think about Shawn Layden's words here and his reaffirmation of Sony's philosophy when it comes to game creation and innovation and all the things that we care about at the end of the day when it comes to how we want to enjoy our games and what we look for in our games. Be sure to leave the video a like if you did enjoy it, if you enjoy the content. Also, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.